We use a lot of old words and phrases around here. So many that a friend of ours asked us to do a video about them and where some of them came from.
When we started to dig into the background of some pretty common terms, we discovered stories that are weird and dark and sometimes even funny. So here are a few common phrases that are older and maybe weirder than you think. And a big thank you to viewer Matt for this suggestion.
Let's dig into this. It's raining cats and dogs out there. The most common explanation for this phrase says it's from 16th century England, when cats and dogs would take shelter in thatched roofs of houses during heavy storms. The rainwater would make the thatch slippery, and then animals would fall out as if they were coming down from the rain. But the phrase didn't ever appear until the 17th century, and unlike mice and rats, cats and dogs don't really nest in thatched roofs. So there's that.
A lot of people believe raining cats and dogs comes from Norse mythology. The reason given is that Odin, the god of storms and thunder, was associated with dogs and wolves. Unfortunately for this theory, Thor was the Norse god of thunder, and Odin is associated with ravens.
Maybe the most believable theory is that the no holds barred fury of a cat fighting a dog is where the phrase actually comes from.
Ever gotten up on the wrong side of the bed? I know JB has. Often said when somebody is crabby or just having one of those days. This phrase is older than you may think.
From ancient times, there was a superstition that the left side was considered the evil or unlucky side. Julius Caesar would reportedly never put his left shoe on first to avoid bad luck. And some societies believe that if your left foot touches the floor first in the morning, you will have a day filled with bad luck. Many folks would push the left side of the bed against the wall to ensure getting up on the right side of the bed.
The phrase got up on the wrong side of the bed is listed in Brewster's Dictionary of Phrase and Fable, published in 1870, so it has been well known since at least that time. I love this one. If somebody's got your goat, they've basically ticked you off. Some reports trace the saying back to the French saying, take the goat, which literally meant stealing someone's goat. Pretty simple. But the most common explanation is that goats have been used for many years to calm other animals.
Race horses can be nervous before a race, and goats are sometimes put into their stalls to keep them calm. And ranchers have used goats as a companion animal for horses for years for their calming effect. Who knew?
Hey, put a sock in it. Well, it literally means be quiet or close your mouth. This phrase isn't as popular as it once was, but I still hear someone say it every once in a while. There are several versions of where the slang term comes from, and they relate to two different uses of the old sock.
The first claims it comes from England just before or during World War One. It was used to tell someone to be quiet. It may have also come from soldiers in the trenches during the war who also used put a cork in it at about the same time. The phrase first appeared in print in newspapers around 1919.
The other theory is that early versions of the gramophone did not have any way to control the volume of the music. They would roll up a sock and place it in the horn to mute the volume. Since the gramophone came into popular use in the 1890s or so, it could be that both versions are true, one having grown from the other.
Well, son of a gun. This phrase can be used as a term of surprise or to describe someone in a good or bad terms. And the origins have nothing to do with either of these ways we use it today.
In the 1700s, the term son of a gun was written about in several military books, and it definitely has military origins. It was used to describe baby boys born on ships. It was said that when women would go to sea with their sailor husbands and give birth, the most private place on a ship was between two gun ports. The boy would then be called a son of a gun.
Other sources say that a son of a gun was the male child of any soldier, And one other theory says that when an unmarried woman, usually the daughter of the captain or a high ranking officer of the ship, found herself in the family way and the sailors were questioned, they claimed the gun did it and they were innocent.
Of course, we know the whole 9 yards means everything or all in, as in, I bought the whole 9 yards. But it is said that the saying comes from World War II, when ammunition for planes came in 9 yard long chains. If a gunner used all his ammo in one place, he had spent the whole 9 yards.
The saying might actually be way older than World War II, though. In the 17th century or so, it took 9 yards of tartan to make a proper Scottish kilt and its accessories. Since many could not afford that much fabric, those that put on the whole 9 yards are showing off their wealth and power.
Other theories include ship sails or bridal veils, Indian saris, and burial shrouds. All of these theories may have grown from the common practice in the 18th and 19th centuries of selling cloth on 9 yard bolts. I hadn't heard the term white elephant until I was well into adulthood and invited to a white elephant gift exchange. Before the internet and with no friends who knew any more about it than I did, I took a gift much different than was probably expected. The recipient didn't complain, and I quickly learned it meant something silly, useless, or unwanted.
The term comes from the sacred white elephant in Eastern cultures, especially Thailand, where it is even on the national flag until 1917. And a gift of a white elephant was not one you wanted to receive. Royalty would use this gift as a form of punishment or an attempt to ruin a rival financially. A white elephant could not be hidden, sold, or returned, and the cost of keeping it healthy and fed could break someone quite quickly.
Some sources say Saved by the Bell literally comes from kids in classrooms, dreading homework assignments or exams, and the end of the day bell saving them from it. I personally never had a teacher who let a bell stop them, though.
The term actually comes from the sport of boxing and comes from the late 1800s. A boxer in danger of losing the match could be saved by the bell and come back in the next round. It became popular in the 1920s thanks to boxing matches being covered on the radio and has been used ever since.
Feed a cold, starve a fever. It's been around since the Middle Ages. I know people who believe this old saying to this day, and I know some who believe it's actually the opposite. Starve a cold, feed a fever. Either way, it's all wrong.
Back in 1574, the phrase was written about in the dictionary by John Whittles. The belief back then was that fasting or starving could cure a fever. We now know that fasting can make many illnesses worse quickly, and becoming dehydrated can be extremely dangerous.
Hey, here's another Dragon Den video you might like.
And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button.
And you can hit the notification bell if you'd like to know when our videos come out.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.